Good morning. It is Tuesday at 8:30. It's more specifically Blackout Tuesday. And it is time for Tea and Wild Thoughts conversation. As I do every Tuesday. God willing, just going ahead and getting the vibe right. A little Palo Santo. Lord knows we need as much energy clearing as we can possibly get. Good morning, Miracle. Yeah. So energy is a little low. Heart is quite heavy. I exceeded, I was going to say I was tired months ago, exceeded exhaustion weeks ago, and now I am really just heartbroken. Heartbroken over the events of the past week and working on not becoming bitter. Just completely bitter about everything that's going on and being a person that really is committed to trying to be positivity. Shout out to Dre's Design Shop, another black owned business. I'm not plugging any products this morning either because again it's Blackout Tuesday. We're all just committed to the movement. But yeah, another black owned business. And so, yeah, my head is a little all over the place. We're going to do our best to get through this. So, the energy in the world just feels hopeless, but my spirit knows that it's not hopeless. Deep down, we know that unfortunately, this is the process of real change. As my dad used to say, change does not happen by choice, it happens by force. And so, yeah, the past few days, last week was it's kind of unbelievable. I definitely want to hear how you guys are feeling. And so, yeah, please leave comments, questions, whatever you have. Again, I'm going to post this on YouTube later. So if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to respond and let me know how you guys are feeling too. So I definitely would like to know and try to use my platform at all times for us to, just have dialogue and release as much as possible. I have been listening before, any of this even started. I have been listening to a book, The Book of Forgiveness by Desmond Tutu and his daughter. I highly recommend this book as well. It's challenging to get through. Nobody really wants to hear about peace talk, when we're angry, and that's something I have learn to respect and understand. But if you're really interested in getting some of this stuff out of your spirit, really getting it up out of your spirit, this is a book that I would definitely recommend. The Book of Forgiveness. I don't have any of the answers, but there are some awarenesses that I would like to share with you this morning. So, good morning, welcome. The first awareness, and I'll come back around to the Book of Forgiveness. The first is this worldwide understanding and acceptance. Good morning, y'all. Welcome. I already shared that, I definitely want to hear how you guys are feeling too. So please feel free to leave comments, questions, whatever you have. I am open to the dialogue. I want it to be a space where we all can release, but I'll definitely share, some of my awarenesses that I've been having and exploring lately. So the first is the understanding and acceptance of who Black people genuinely are in this country. And this is something, I've been exploring for since I kind of got out here to my dad's house. We have to understand that most of us, many of us, were brought here as slaves. Yes, okay, Joy, we know that. What that really means, though, is that we have genuinely been a part of the economic structure of this country, meaning on the bottom, okay? The working class, okay? We were not just brought here as like slaves and captives. It is a part of the economic system. My heart hurts for what is going on. We are generous and loving people. I totally agree. I do agree with that. And I'm going to come back around to your statement as well. Because there are some things that we need to do as Black people as well. Right now, again, we are all suffering. We're hurting as a collective. But yes, so in our story and how we got here to this country, we have been a part of the economic structure. That means that we have been on the bottom. We have been a part of the working force. And that is the structure of this country. It's wrong. These are just facts. These are facts. Chattel slavery, okay? Brought here to participate in building crops and homes and the White House and just everything. And so the reason that I'm saying this is because if that is the genuine foundation of our country and the way that things are set up, then and again, these are my thoughts, my wild thoughts. Feel free to share yours. But it's this understanding that this is only the evolution of that. I came into acceptance quite some time ago that there is a way that white people cannot see us. They just cannot see us that way. Have never, up until this point, had any scenarios where they had to see us differently. When you're not seen as a human being, you're seen as a part of something that is a system. And so we have never been seen as human beings. We just haven't. Not on the level that us as Black people see ourselves and experience ourselves. We've never been seen that way. And I think it's been this huge, crazy, wild wake-up call, because, again, when we are, as human beings, we say we're in pain, we feel stuff. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, stop doing this to us. That's what America itself is waking up to, and it's slowly trickling into the rest of the world. Because colonialism is a worldwide system. It's not just the system that's here in America. Slaves were taken from Africa all over the world and used to create economics. Okay, it's Black people. And when you start shifting that, it shakes up the whole system. It doesn't just shake up Black people. It doesn't just shake up white people. It shakes up the whole economic structure of the country. Okay? So I think it's just been challenging as well for us as Black people to really accept and understand that we're not seen as humans. We're not seen as humans. And for me personally, the way I've come into an acceptance of that. Good morning, Zeke. I've come into an acceptance of that allows me to genuinely release them from needing them to see me a certain way. I see myself that way, and therefore you have no choice at that point but to follow my lead. But to just sit there, I love you too, Zeke. To just sit there and expect them to see me in a way that, again, this system has been here long before I ever got here, is just kind of unrealistic. A little unrealistic. And so, they're just kind of genuinely ignorant. And I'm not saying that in a way to particularly sound negative. Ignorance means that you don't know. And I don't think that until this point that majority of white people in America genuinely understood and knew the depths of how we felt. Again, I've been a person who's been very vocal. I mean, when Trump got in office, that's pretty much when things got set off for me. I just realized this system doesn't work for black people. It doesn't work. But instead, in the beginning, the feeling was rage. It was anger, And I would like to say as well that, again, what we're seeing, I have no judgment whatsoever on how people are dealing with their anger and their rage. It is a low vibration emotion. And what we're seeing is a lot of low vibrational things. But again, I've been there. I mean, not on this level, but I understand what it feels like to have that inside of you, to feel powerless, to feel as if you have no other options. And none of us can really speak to who we are and what we do when we feel powerless and angry. And so again, it's no judgment from me. I get it. I get why people are protesting on this level. This is a deep-seated feeling, anger, hurt that has been here for over 400 years. And so that is just what we're seeing. And it's painful to watch. And it's even more painful to experience. However, race itself is a social construct. I think that we need to continue to understand that after we can get all this out of our system, and bring some logic to the emotions that we feel. Race itself is a social construct, okay? Race technically does not exist. You don't come out of the body. We just happen to have different skin colors. Okay, but in terms of calling us black, white, we're human beings. We all are. It's a social construct that was placed on us, okay? Class is also a social construct, meaning the working class, okay? Here in America, the working class just happens to coincide with race. Two social constructs built right there in connection with each other. That's why I said in the beginning that we have to understand that we have been a part of the working force. We have been a part of the economic structure. And so for them to see us as human beings means that it shakes up the whole system, okay? I'm talking about social constructs here. Gender is also a social construct, okay? Yes, you can biologically be born male, female, but in terms of the ideologies and expectations that are placed onto people based on the fact that you're a man or a woman are social constructs. Those are expectations placed around these things, okay? So, I'm a person who, I live out here in the country, and I'm going to get to talking about privilege in a second. But, I'm sorry. I told you my brain is all over the place. But, so anyway, yeah, I was talking about social constructs, the perceptions around all of these things. And again, my work, me personally, I'm not particularly going to get up and go out there and burn shit down. That's just not my that's just not my bag. That's not what I'm going to do. What I do, however, is provoke conversation, stimulate thoughts. That's my realm. So that's, what I'm going to do. And I believe, good morning, Tracy. I believe that the more that we can continue to as I like to say, stay free and free ourselves and look at ourselves as human beings, then we continue to create our own personal protests and revolution. That's why I talk about self-love. That's why I talk about self-care. And we lead by example, in getting other people to see us that way. We can't force anybody to see us a certain way. These systems have been here again long before any of us that on this timeline ever got here. So, these systems that are in place, social constructs. And so I was thinking, about a time where a friend of mine, this is a black female, another black female, told me that I was privileged. She called me privileged. And I thought to myself, what the fuck? What does she mean by that? I was very offended, at the way that she saw me. And I think another just huge awakening that we are having in the world, and specifically in this country, is that it's not even just about the way that we see ourselves. It's the acceptance of the way somebody else sees us. And again, that in itself can make you feel powerless. You can't do anything about the perception outside of giving somebody another experience. If you're allowed to, giving somebody another experience with you that can challenge their perception. But anyway, somebody called me privileged, and I just felt like, good morning. I felt like she was wrong. I felt judged, and it took some years for me to understand that as a black woman, I do have my own levels of privilege, and I've talked about this in other conversations in the past. Again, I'm not that black woman that's going to be out there on the streets burning stuff up. That's not my bag. That's not my deal. And I'm not in a community. I've had conversations as well about being black and middle class. There's certain pressures that I don't feel personally, though. And this is what we tend to, I think just all that we want is that respect for another experience. Again, I don't judge the people that are out there because I'm not having their specific experience. I'm also not a black man. I don't know what it feels like to go out there and feel hunted in that way. But I respect the fact that other people are having experiences that I'm not having. And all I got to do is step back and let them have their moment. Again, would I prefer it not include shit being burned down? Absolutely. But again, I can't say what my choices would be if I were in their shoes. And I think that's all that any of us can expect at this point, is even if you don't understand it or agree with it, to sit back, good morning, to sit back and just respect that people are having an experience that you're not having. I mean, that's simple enough to ask and to create a level of compassion for that. So yeah. And as a black woman, I had to sit back and understand that, again, a lot of my friends had come from backgrounds and communities that I had not come from. That just wasn't my personal experience. And so they were feeling things that I wasn't quite feeling, because I've never been the person that was an advocate for rioting. And I didn't really understand, why people would resort to violence. Or just getting out there and tearing things up. But again, we know that different people are controlling different narratives. There's so many layers to this thing. Nobody can really just point the finger. It's a system. And systems work on different levels of foundation. It's a combination of things. It's not, good morning, welcome. It's not just linear. So none of us can point the finger. So I made a statement some time ago. This was maybe 2-3 years ago. very unpopular, and somebody else had posted it actually, and I just reposted it, and it said, I wish that Black Lives Mattered to Black people. This was years ago, before things hit this level. I think when the riots were happening back in like 2016, 2017. And of course, it was unpopular. It got a lot of attention. People were very upset by it. At that time, I was a little less considerate, again, of different people having different types of experiences. And just, again, ignorant, just didn't understand, didn't know. Had to learn to lay down my levels of privilege that I have within my own damn community, okay? But what I was really wanting to say, or trying to say again, and I've evolved my own brand and my own journey into, again, more so using my platform to try to help each of us, more specifically Black people, and more specifically Black women, but each of us to understand that it's our individual responsibility to love ourselves on certain levels and build ourselves up, and again, lead by example. We'll never be able to control other people. We'll never be able to control other people, how they see us, but we can walk our talk, and we can do personal development and shift things in that way, become what we want to see in the world. And so I want to kind of finish off with some things that I really feel like we as the Black community can do for ourselves. Because again, this race, this social construct, it's not going anywhere. It was here before we got here. But as a collective, because, we have our own issues within our own community of classism and gender and ageism and different things that happen within our own community. I really want us to lead by example as much as possible. We'll never be able to control the way they see us. Anybody else sees us. But we can continue to build ourselves up, walk our talk, come together on our own, and just say fuck the system. As much as we possibly can. So here's what we can do. My first idea is that Black men really need to start standing with Black women. Like, we need to come together on the gender side. And I say that, again, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have my own personal journey with forgiveness on this level. But, we are on the front lines with Black men. When this is happening to Black men, I've been seeing this meme floating around too, where they say, I want to love a Black man so hard that he forgets something. We need Black men to love us like that too. We need them to love us on that level, that radically. We need them to show up. When Black girls were disappearing and being taken from the streets, and R. Kelly, like, Black men have hurt us. And this may not be the time, or it's an unpopular opinion, but we need them to stand with us. Because when it comes to the collective and us just experiencing things as Black people, we take on that burden for Black men. But we need them to really start doing the same for us too. Period and point blank. We need that reciprocity. Black men were participating in taking Black women off the streets. It's got to stop. Again, if we want the world to see us as having value, we need to join together in that way. First and foremost. We definitely have to work on the ageism and the classism. And what I mean by that is, there have definitely been, and I've experienced this myself as an artist, who people may not have known had the level of education I had, or just make judgments. I think sometimes that, again, just like the Jay-Z's and Diddy's, and we feel like when we get a certain amount of money that certain issues are going to disappear, or that we don't we just don't come into that other experience, as much. And so again, when these things start happening and you see in these protests, the people that are on the front lines tend to be more in the working class communities. The essential workers, that's how that whole thing trickled down. And again, we need to combine as Black people, just like we're doing today with the Blackout Tuesday. Like, that's a beautiful movement. We need to continue things like that, and we need to do it all the time, not just when we're pissed off. We need to commit to it. We need to be disciplined with it. And we need to use more effective strategies than burning shit up. We need to do that. We need to take care of our older people. We need to get back to that tribe mentality that we come from. Because of the systems that are in place, society doesn't do much for our community when it comes to older people. When I go in that dialysis clinic, taking care of my dad, Black people is what I see. And trust me, DaVita dialysis is making money, off of the fact that, which brings me to my next point. We need to make our mental, physical, and emotional health a serious priority. That is a form of protest in itself. I've been saying for years that I don't even trust our medical system for Black women anymore. Learn your herbs, learn what to take. The information is here. The information is out there, and we can take our health into our own hands. We have so many talented, smart, gifted people in our own communities. And a lot of times the first thing we do is dismiss them. We dismiss them. Amen. I was one of those people. I am one of those people who's constantly, they don't want to hear that, child, that stuff too expensive. You don't see Whole Foods in the hood. I always say, when you walk outside and you see Black people walking around the neighborhood, they're pushing, shopping carts, and they are hanging out on the corner. You go outside in these white communities and the upper class communities, I should say, not even just white communities, but middle to upper class communities. They're running, they are walking, they are taking care of themselves. They get massages, they get facials. This stuff isn't just because it's pleasurable. It's because it's about health. It's because it's about keeping yourself well. And yes, they can afford that, but it's a system. Just understand that it's all connected. And so the more that, again, we can even barter, we can do so many things to keep ourselves well. I've always been a person that's willing to do that. Always. And you'd be surprised at how many of my own women, my own sisters, do not take the time to take care of themselves. It has to happen. It is a part of the protest. It is a part of Black Lives Mattering. You matter. You matter enough to spend a little money or take a little time for yourself. We got to do it. So I have 2 minutes. I'm going to share my wild thought. This is a snippet from something that I wrote some time ago. Since I'm aware that some of the things I say may be off-putting to people, but there's a fine balance between being offensive and being authentic. Good morning. Again, I try to share my thoughts, my opinions, not in a way that forces anyone to have to think the way I do. I don't even get mad if we disagree. But I'll stand on those thoughts, and I always welcome, again, other perspectives, other experiences that shift the way I think or introduce something new, into my perspective. So, I welcome everybody to do that. As we continue to become more aware of the way other people see us and the way other people experience us. you know. And if we can help it, let's just try to be less angry. And try to, again, just be who we want to be. Lead by example, you know. I'm right at 9 o'clock, but I remember working for NASCAR now. I work for NASCAR, okay? And my hair was down past the middle of my back at that point. And a bunch of white people saying, yeah, because you got to weave. It's like, all this comes out of my scalp. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, and allowing them to touch my hair. And I didn't get offended. It didn't offend me because I don't give a fuck how you see me. This is my hair. It comes out of my head. That's facts. Anger doesn't always have to be our choice of emotion, and educating people and sharing an experience with them and challenging their ignorance. So, I invite you all to check out my new website. Keep going. I'm tired, you know, like that's pretty much what I have to say. I definitely welcome if you guys have anything to share. But yeah, I am a peaceful person. I get anger. I get it. But I just know there's more. And underneath anger is always just pain. That's exactly what it was for me. And that's why I'm reading the damn book of forgiveness. Because it's still in there. And it comes back. I mean, I wanted to share too. They talk about the fourfold path. And, you know, it's this system and this way of releasing or getting to genuine, deep forgiveness. And the first step is telling your story. So, again, I think, you know, just Black people, just even getting to the point where we can start voicing how we feel is a revolution in itself. We're in pain. We've been in pain for a long ass time. I'm proud of you. This is a huge part of change that's needed, communicating effectively. Thank you, friend. And it is, you know, we need to get to the point where we can communicate without violence, breaking something, even if that communication is, I'm in pain, you know, I'm hurting. And they haven't hurt us. And yes, we have been killed unfairly, unjustly. Nobody has been penalized for it. It's deep. It's awful. It's terrible. We have not been seen as humans. But we are. We are. And you have to know that. House party for the folks who want to talk more. So yes, there is a link. Well, I took that link tree off, but I really want you guys, I'm going to put it in my stories to add me on house party so that we can continue conversations like this and see each other and dialogue. The goal with Tea and Wild Thoughts at some point is to really have these conversations in person, but we all can really share our perspectives, no judgment whatsoever. Learn, dialogue, talk, house party, the app, add me. Yeah. So if you're on YouTube, definitely please like, subscribe, share your thoughts with me, and I will continue to create content that we all can hopefully learn from and provoke more thinking. So my heart is with absolutely everyone today. Keep your mental health, your mental peace a priority. Do it by any means necessary. Tap out where you need to. Just be easy. Thank you. So I appreciate y'all. I'm hoping that you had the best day that you possibly can today. Eat something decent. Put some green in your body. I'm drinking dandelion root tea. Educate yourself on your health. And if you have any questions for me, I'm always here. My DMs are always open. So, peace, y'all. We doing the best we damn can. I love y'all. I really do.